Welcome everybody to a look at a new 4K limited edition release from Indicator, and it is 1977's Hitch-Hike. So this is directed by Pasquale Festa Campanelli, who I've not seen anything else from before, and it's a road thriller clocking in at 104 minutes long. Stars Franco Nero, who quite frankly is the main reason why I got this, because I've seen him in 24 other films, many of which I've really enjoyed. Favourites with him in the lead role will be the likes of Day of the Owl, Street Law, How to Kill a Judge, and Massacre Time. Also stars Corinne Clary, who was also in Moonraker. She was the woman in who got mauled by a pack of dogs by the villain Hugo Drax. Also stars David Hess, who was in Swamp Thing, Body Count, and Avalanche Express. So Walter embarks on a road trip across California with his wife Eve in a bid to salvage their failing marriage. On their way, Eve stopped for a hitchhiker who turns out to be a murderous thief on the run. So this hardly leaves you stuck for choice when it comes to likable characters, as Franco Nero's character Walter is an alcoholic. He's really rather quite abusive to his wife. But I think that's more because of years have gone past, that even though he still clearly loves her, he's also really, yeah, too much of a drunk, too much of a person that feels like he's looked down upon because he's not the rich person in this relationship. His wife he has a lot of money from her father, so I feel like he comes across like he feels like he's inadequate. He feels like he's not a man in this relationship at all. So there is that, but that hardly excuses his actions. And also, obviously, the thief that they pick up is hardly likable. He's quite a psychotic, in fact, and there are a bunch of other characters that come into this that are also fairly unlikable as well. So it's only really Eve that is the sympathetic character in this. It also has far from an agreeable view on women, and it does feel like an amalgamation of other films, such as Duel, not just because of the setting, but also because there is a certain scene, an action scene, where there is a truck that is trying to ram them off the road. Quite an exciting action scene, in fact, but it does feel a lot like Duel. Also feels like a more 70s, more violent version of the 1953 film The Hitchhiker, which was directed by Ida Lupino. Now, granted, there was two men in that were being held hostage in their car by another criminal on the run, but it still feels like a certain kind of film like that. And also feels somewhat similar to the same year released The Hills Have Eyes, with its similar desert setting and caravan holiday aspect gone wrong. Despite all of that, though, this is really rather entertaining, and that is primarily down to the cast being highly convincing in their roles, especially Franco Nero, who typically plays, the hero, the likable guy in his films, but in this is a lot less likable, and yeah, but he's really highly convincing in that role. It's got an engaging plot, some fun action and violence, especially when it comes to the blood squibs. The score by Ennio Morricone is really rather quite great. It's a lot different to his more other efforts from this kind of period. It's nowhere near like his spaghetti western efforts, but I think he nails doing something a bit different. The cinematography is solid, the pacing is on point, and the tone, though sleazy and nasty, especially when it comes to its conclusion, is executed in a manner that feels genuine rather than just being there to pander to exploitation sensibilities or just being there for the sake of it. It does feel like it's a necessary part of the plot and not just there to fill in a lackluster plot, for instance. So, yeah, overall, a really, really good effort. 4 out of 5. Highly surprised by, how good it actually is. Not for any reason, outside of the fact that I've not seen anything from the director before, but I figured with Franco Nero on it at the very least that it was going to be a decent effort. But yeah, it's far better than that. And yeah, this release from Indicator is also really, really rather good. So yeah, like I said, it is on 4K, and as per usual, we'll get these cardboard and plastic combination releases for this film. So yeah, really nicely done as per usual. I like the orange that it's got going for it. Kind of fits the whole desert vibe that this film has going on for it. And yeah, we also have a booklet with this release. So I believe that's the two leads and the director there in the doorway. And inside the booklet, we have cast and crew. Then we have Masculinity in Crisis by Mikhail J. Koven from 2025. Between Cinema and Literature, a portrait of Pasquale Festa Campanale by Alessandro Ticossi from 2011. Then we have Ottavo Gemma on Pasquale Festa Campanale by Andrea Pergolari. That's from 2002. Then we have Franco Nero on Hitchhike by Xavier Mendick from 2013. David Hess on Hitchhike from 2011. Meeting on the Set in Venice with Corinne Clary by Piero Zanotto even, from 1978. And then an interview with Ennio Morricone by Hubert Neogret from 1983, and then about the presentation and indicator credits, as well as shots from the film. Also, really rather like the opening to this booklet as well, which obviously has a shot from the film with the title and such on the top there. And yeah, it's just really, really well done, this booklet, as per usual. So we have a bunch of other characters that pop up in this as well. So, like I said, there are other characters that pop up. There are a couple of policemen that pop up as well, but generally, any characters that do appear who aren't instantly unlikable generally aren't around for very long. So, yeah, you can't really get attached to them all that much to really consider them sympathetic, unlike Eve, who entirely is. So, yeah, I'm not going to show up too much of the pictures in this because obviously that's going to just, you know, give away too much. But the Ennio Morricone interview is from French journal Positif, uh, where he discussed his work in cinema. That was with Hubert Neogret from 1983. And then David Hess on Hitchhike, that was the following extract from a long form interview for horror website The Terror Trap. Actor David Hess speaks about his role in Hitchhike. And Franco Nero on Hitchhike, that's from 2013. So, in this excerpt from an interview conducted by Xavier Mendick for Cine XS, Franco Nero discusses the making of Hitchhike. So, yeah, it's all nicely done, as per usual with these releases. From Indicator, never really have an issue with their physical presentations. So yeah, Hitchhiker was scanned in 4K at Augustus Color in Rome using the original 35mm negative. 4K HDR color correction and restoration work was undertaken at Filmfinity, London, where Phoenix and Diamant image processing tools were used to remove many thousands of instances of dirt, eliminate scratches and other imperfections, as well as repair damaged frames. No grain management, edge enhancement, or sharpening tools were employed to artificially alter the image in any way. I really like it when they confirm that, so it means that, no AI has been used to, just glean over it and just try and take away as much as possible while also putting in more than is necessary. Obviously, we do like films that have films out of focus in the background, which is just natural. So yeah, there's no reason to not do that. We have obviously seen that with other 4K films, unfortunately. And audio conform and restoration work on the English and Italian tracks was carried out by Michael Brook using Isotope RX10. So yeah, they've evidently put work into this, and you can tell because it looks really, really rather great, especially when it comes to the cinematography of this whole, desert landscape that we're being set in. So, yeah, there are two presentations of the film: Hitchhike, the English language version, and Autostop Rosso Sangue, the Italian language version. I only watched the English language version. It is set in America at the end of the day. There are obviously English speaking actors in this as well. Franco Nero has done English roles as well. Obviously, Corinne Clary has, and David Hess is obviously an English speaker. So, yeah, I figured that would be the more suitable film version to watch. Got the original mono audio. You also got audio commentary with Italian genre film experts Eugenio Ercolani and Marcus Stigaliger from 2025. Then you got Road to Ruin from 2025. That's a 90-minute, newly updated documentary by filmmaker Federico Cadeo, delving into the production, release, and reception of Hitchhike, featuring extensive interviews with actors Franco Nero, Corin Clary, and David Hess, as well as assistant director Neri Parenti. So I'm not seeing that yet, being nearly as long as the film itself, but yeah, it's really cool that they've actually got a massive full-length documentary on there. Not even a recent Radiance film had a documentary that long, so yeah, that's cool. Then you've also got Adventures in Abruzzo from 2025, clocking in at 25 minutes long, expansive interview with Parenti. who did the documentary beforehand, was in the documentary beforehand. And then you got The Novelist's Revenge from 2025, clocking in at 29 minutes long. That's a critical appreciation by Ercolani, contextualizing Hitchhike within director Pasquale Festa Campanelli's wider career. You got The Coldest of Dishes from 2025. That's a 63-minute in-depth documentary by Ercolani exploring the subgenre of Italian rape and revenge films. And then you got The Devil Thumbs a Ride from 2002, clocking in at 19 minutes long. Archival making of documentary featuring interviews with Nero, Clary, and Hess. Original theatrical trailers, Image Gallery, which has promotional and publicity material. New and improved English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing for the English language soundtrack. New and improved English translation subtitles for the Italian soundtrack. And yeah, it's a limited edition version as well, like I've said. So yeah, 4,000 versions of the 4K are going to be released, and 1,000 of the Blu-rays for the UK are going to be released. So 5,000 in total. So yeah, they're clearly banking on a lot of people more preferring this in 4K than Blu-ray. Usually they split them in between the two evenly. So we've had ones before that have had 2,000 either side for 4K and the Blu-ray, but clearly they are banking on the 4K of this being the more popular of the two. So yeah, if you are looking to watch this film but not quite spend as much as the 4K costs, then you've only got a very limited amount of Blu-rays to pick from. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already on that Blu-ray. But as there are obviously a limited amount, I got number 1,728 of the 4,000 indicator 4Ks. So yeah. So if you you are looking out for that one, then there probably are still a fair few left. But given I've nearly my number is nearly halfway through the 4Ks, and yeah, I imagine they are selling quite well, and deservedly so. It's a 4 out of 5 film, and one that I yeah, really rather enjoyed watching. It's not got a clear cut amount of sympathetic characters, but I think that works in its favour because there's all more often than not characters in a film like this that are clear cut sympathetic. They're not unlikable in any way or whatsoever. Whereas this, yeah, goes down a different route that is satisfyingly done. So yeah, if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.